Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, hitting the little bell for notifications so you'll know when we're on. Also, hit that like button. And if you feel so inclined, leave me a comment. And of course, if it strikes you, share this if you would like this message to get out. This is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. There's still no body cam footage from Andrew Brown, the man that we broke the news shot by sheriff deputies in Elizabethtown, or Elizabeth City, I should say, North Carolina. Now, 3 deputies have resigned from that force, and 7 more are on leave at this time since that shooting. Our first story this morning comes from CNN. It comes from Fort Worth, Texas. White students from Aledo Independent School District, which is just outside Fort Worth, were in a group Snapchat. And in that Snapchat, this is hard to do. In that Snapchat was the name of the Snapchat was the N-word auction. It was a group of white students. The district initially called it cyberbullying with racially charged language, but out of pressure from the community, it was labeled racist. Now, that's not all. A week later, a flyer surfaced across campuses. Now, this is about a 7,000 person school district, roughly 80% white. And a flyer surfaced across numerous campuses. That flyer was titled "The Great Sale of Slaves." And here is that story.
Man who was targeted in the slave trade Snapchat group.
Chris Johnson is a 9th grader in the town of Aledo, Texas, west of Fort Worth. He and a fellow black classmate were the targets of racist social media posts that brought him to this moment speaking to the town's school board.
It was not a game. I lived here my whole life and know most of the kids and parents here.
In March, a group of students at Aledo's 9th grade campus started a slave auction of classmates in a private Snapchat group. A screen grab of the auction became public. Under the racist titles for the group chat, one bid $100 on one student and another offered $1 on Chris. Would be better if his hair wasn't so bad. At first, the Aledo School District described the chat as cyberbullying with racially charged language, which angered many residents who wondered why it wasn't immediately called out as racist.
We have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations.
The school district ultimately called it racism and said the students were disciplined, but for privacy reasons won't detail the punishments.
The only apology I'm accepted is change behavior. When we can make the changes needed to ensure all of us feel treated fairly and safe.
It is dehumanization.
Eddie Burnett is the president of the local NAACP chapter and says this moment needs to be a wake-up call for this small town.
I'm not saying that they are teaching racism here, but there's obviously an environment where that flourishes.
A few weeks after the Snapchat auction, this flyer announcing a great sale of slaves appeared at a couple of Aledo campuses. The school district said police are reviewing security footage to see who distributed the flyers.
That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting.
There are about 7,000 students in the Aledo School District, and that student population is about 78% white. Some residents have told us there's a history here of avoiding difficult conversations about racial issues, and that's why they're worried these moments will be swept under the rug. We've heard from a number of people who have told us, look, CNN coming into Aledo to tell this story that we're just causing more problems than we're solving here. What's your reaction to that?
No, you're revealing more problems. And that's a problem for the people who've told you that. I think, again, that the one chance we have to correct this situation is to shine sunlight on it.
It's time to fix stupid and not let this happen anymore.
This is also prompting other residents to share their experiences.
What started off as a friendly game of cops and robbers quickly turned south when several kids tackled my 8-year-old to the ground. As he lay with his face pressed into the cement, he pleaded with them to get off of him. He told them he couldn't breathe. He laid there hopeless, hoping somebody would step in. As he struggled to break free, one of the children said, "Hey, put your knee on his neck."
These moments reveal how a racial divide can exist beneath the surface of a small town like countless others in America.
If you think that this has affected you and your job, just imagine how we actually feel.
Chris Johnson is a young man urging his hometown not to look away, no matter how painful this moment might feel.
That's what we do here on the American Doofus. We shed light on stories that may not get enough attention or cannot get enough attention. This is one of those stories that cannot get enough attention. That's why in the beginning I said, please consider sharing this if you're so inclined. But that's not all. You know, there's a lot of talk about bad cops, and a lot of that centers around police action shootings and the untimely death of someone. But that's not always the case, as our next story is going to show.
Handcuffs punched in the face by a Southern California police officer. Fellow officers step in to pull him back. Our Jory Rand hearing from an eyewitness. He's live in Westminster with more. Jory.
Mark, we're not really used to seeing this. Officers stepping in to stop another officer from doing something they think may have crossed the line. And tonight that
You noticed he said, we're not used to seeing this. An officer stepping in and stopping another officer that has crossed the line.
officer is now under investigation. Tonight, a Westminster police officer is on leave after this video surfaced of him punching a woman in handcuffs in the face. And what makes this incident so noteworthy is that two fellow officers stop him, physically block him from landing any more blows.
He intervened and stopped him, and they made him go to the other. They made him back out from the scene.
Sandy Armenta shot the video Wednesday afternoon. In it, you can see the woman, 34-year-old Xiomara Garcia, stumble as officers try to stand her up. She then kicks the officer near his groin, and that's when he punches back. Her brother tells us she suffers from mental illness.
Do you know she has schizophrenia and she's bipolar? Or at least one of the cops did.
Police were first called after Garcia was accused of assaulting a woman in the street. Her own brother then basically making the police's case for them.
When we opened the door, they're trying to put handcuffs on her, and she was resisting. They're walking her out, and when we got out of the walkway, that's when she started kicking the shins, and that's when they threw her to the plants.
Doorbell video caught officers picking Garcia back up out of the flower bed and walking her towards the street. This isn't her first run-in with police. Back to her brother for the history.
I guess she assaulted another Asian lady, but they're trying to make her apologize because they know she has mental disorders. And that time, I guess she assaulted the cops too, right here in the front.
This rare instance of officers restraining one of their own comes just days after a Minnesota jury convicted former officer Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd.
So, something to think about. Was that necessary force necessarily? Now we go to Louisville, Kentucky, where last night protesters had run-ins with law enforcement, resulting in a few arrests, including one of the Louisville live streamers. Now, keep in mind, it is the week before the Derby in Louisville, and police are going to be wanting to crack down on potential disturbances. We're going to go to a little bit of footage from Matthew Ballard. Matthew is the live streamer that was arrested, and here is that arrest.
We're not kettled. If people wanted to make a run for it, they could. Right now, what's going on is they're towing the car, so they're trying to get the tow truck.
For a little bit of context here, the protest is on foot, followed by an extensive car caravan. And they're about to tow one of the cars of one of the protesters. And the protesters are not happy about it. And actually, one of the protesters was arrested right in front of that tow truck.
Again, LMPD has done far more. The LMPD has done way more to block the road, to block traffic than the protesters were. Like, you know, at least traffic was flowing in one of the directions instead of being blocked in both directions.
Let's go!
I don't know their names.
Now this protest is twofold. It is for justice for Breonna Taylor, as always, but it's also for justice for Dee Garrett. And you can see right here where my pointer is. That is Dee Garrett. That's the man that was hit in the face multiple times by Louisville police over the weekend, which, yes, we reported on. And as I've said numerous times since then, when Dee protests, he carries an 8-foot by 6-foot wooden cross with the crown of thorns on it as a tribute to his Christian faith. And this is Dee right here, one of the only times we've had a video of him with actually protesting, carrying his cross.
Making sure to take care of things. Why you all blocking traffic? Why you all blocking traffic?
We're blocking it.
more and more to block traffic.
What are you going to do back to officer? I'm trying to move you. Okay, sir, but why would you want to move back to the officers? Man, I'm going to say it one more time. Back up or go to jail.
I was in the process of backing up as he ordered.
A live streamer? A live streamer? Yeah, lost your motherfucking marble, man. Lost your motherfucking marble. Freeway, let's go. Freeway, let's go.
So there we have the actual arrest of Matthew Ballard, and somehow he was allowed to keep his phone. And here's a report from Matthew from jail. Yes, he does look like Harry Potter.
I'm okay. They got me for disorderly conduct, second degree, and blocking the roadway, basically. So.
And you can see he's handcuffed to a chain link fence. So that was basically the main part I wanted to share on that. And finally, we're going to take a view from Maxwell Mitchell. Maxwell is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary human being. He's an excellent live streamer. He is an activist, and he's incredibly articulate as well as artistic in his live streams. And I've been watching Maxwell now for almost a year straight, and feel like I know him quite well when that is not the case, actually. But you learn so much about someone observing them over the course of a year. And here's some of that.
Get your bitch ass. You just walked into the old purpose. I know your bitch ass is walking to the old purpose.
You're about to see, well.
We're on Bardstown Road in Grinstead. Bardstown Road in Grinstead.
And
they're arresting Matthew Ballard.
There you see Matthew Ballard getting arrested. So.
They're arresting Matthew Ballard.
So there you go. And Matthew is a well-known and well-recognized member of the media. He's a Louisville live streamer and has his own company there, MFTW, Made for the World Media, and it's MAT1T, MATHEW, BALLARD. If you're on Facebook, check out Matthew Ballard. I showed you just a few seconds of, he was on almost 3 hours in jail while he was being processed. So if you're interested in watching that, please check out Matthew Ballard. Of course, check out Maxwell Mitchell, MaxwellMitchell on Facebook as well. Probably my favorite live streamer in the country, and without a doubt, my favorite from Louisville. And again, this is the American Doofus Show. It's early Saturday morning. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, because we may be live today. We don't know what's going to happen. We may be live tonight. We don't know what's going to happen, but we will say until next time, this is the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Please please leave a comment. And if you feel this episode is worthy, please share it so that word gets out of what we're doing here on the American Doofus Show. We're trying to shine a light on stories that need lights shined on. We're trying to open some minds, and we have uncomfortable conversations, and that's the key to moving forward and the key to understanding. And it's a dark world. Try to be a light. It's the American Doofus Show. Don't be a doofus. Until next time.